Stream has not started just yet.
Okay. Please let me know.
Will do. And it looks like our stream has started.
Okay. That being said, I guess we'll do the call to order. But before we do a roll call, let me kind of announce who's here. Myself, James Streetman. It looks like Teresa Stevenson, Miss Liz Estrada, Mr. Jimmy Sandoval, Miss Natalie Gillard, Dr. Aaron Kennedy, Miss Amanda Hammer, Miss Connie Chavis, Mr. Larry Wickham, Mr. Josh McVeigh, and Mr. Chris Reynolds. I don't think I've left anybody out, have I? And that being said, Connie, could we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Streetman?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson?
Here.
Ms. Estrada?
Here.
Mr. Sandoval?
Oh.
Thank you. Mr. Sidwell?
Here.
Okay, Connie, I need to correct that list because I'm looking at an old list here, and we need to put Mr. Tom Sidwell on his name on this list too. Because he is in this meeting too.
Thank you.
Also, Mr. Streetman, Chris is not here tonight.
Oh, Chris is not here tonight? Then in the institutional computing, who we have sitting there then, Larry?
That is me as well. That's the stream.
Okay. Very good. Then do I have an approval of the agenda as presented?
Liz Estrada, so move.
In a second?
Teresa Stevenson, second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Sidwell?
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval?
Yes.
Ms. Estrada?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Streetman?
Yes. Okay, do we have any comments from the public on this agenda, Connie?
No, sir. According to Larry, we did not receive any public comments.
Okay. We've got a consent agenda here. I'd like to get approval of these minutes, but before we jump into that, on regular board meeting, item 1, August the 18th, Connie, page 9.
Okay.
Right there at the end said Mr. Streetman informed Mr. McVeigh that he can do a press release because basically Mr. Tom Sidwell had been elected. He should have been appointed and voted in.
Okay.
And I called to inform him of such, yes.
Okay.
And that's the only correction I got. Does anyone else have any corrections on these 2 sets of minutes? If not, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Okay, in a second.
I'll go ahead and second it.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Sandoval?
Yes.
Ms. Estrada?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Streetman?
Yes.
Mr. Sidwell?
Yes.
Okay, folks. Chairperson's report. About the only thing I've got to report is I had a real nice visit yesterday with Dr. Steve McCleary. He's the past president of the Hobbs campus down there, the Hobbs Community College. After visiting with him and answering a lot of his questions, and he answered some of mine, I think from talking to him, we're in really good shape. We're doing everything right at this point in time. As far as our presidential search, and he's willing to help us. And if we have any questions or whatever, we just a phone call away. All we got to do is pick up the phone and talk to him, and he'll be willing to talk to us and help us. Incidentally, he left Hobbs after he retired. He lives in Lubbock, Texas now, so he's just a hop, skip, and a jump away when it comes to for some board training a little bit down the line. And he does do that through ACCT also, much like what Wayne Newton did. So that should be of a big benefit to us too. That being done, that's all I've got. Let's go on to reports. Natalie, your turn. Natalie?
Hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm using my phone for the audio, and so the control in the Google Meet doesn't unmute me. Okay, so anyway,
Okay.
it's that time of year to present the Mesa Lands Community College board policies. At this time each year, beginning in 2011, these board policies have been reviewed, revised, and or presented to the Board of Trustees. So the only changes I have this year for the board policies is to update the date, and that you should have a copy of that. So the date is September 15th, 2020. And if you look on page 1, you can see the board policies were first presented in July 12th, 1994, and this would be the revision, current revision for September 15th, 2020. So
Okay, but go ahead.
I was just going to say that was the only changes I had. I don't know if the board, if you may have changes that we need to add to the board policies.
Okay, but basically all we're doing is approving a cover sheet. Is this correct?
Yes. But
Okay.
what you're approving is the only changes that are being made. Connie, rather than providing the board policies in its entirety, she's only provided all of us with a copy of the pages that contain the proposed changes, which is the cover page and page 1.
Okay, very good. That being said, we have a new board member, so we need to get a full board handbook to him, or if he can pull it online, and I think it's probably online too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Under board about and board, then it is available under those 2 links.
Okay.
And Jim, I had read that before I accepted this position, so I've been
Okay.
through most of it. I don't know what I've read, but yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I want to make sure we're covered. Okay. That's the board policies action. Academic affairs. Natalie, you're still up.
Okay, so do we need action on the revision to the board policy?
Yes, ma'am, we do. Do I have a motion, please?
Teresa Stevenson, so moved.
And a second.
Liz Estrada, second.
Roll call.
Ms. Estrada,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
Mr. Sidwell,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval.
Yes.
Okay, Natalie, you're still up.
Okay, so tonight I would like to share with the board about a partnership that I am working on with Carson National Forest, which is a division of the U.S. Postal Service. And one of their many duties is to control the wild horse and burro population in the state. And they have sites in Bloomfield, New Mexico, and in near Taos. And I've been working with them probably about 2 or 3 years on this partnership. And so I've involved Paul Leonard, our farrier science instructor, and Dr. Manny Encinas, who was our animal science instructor. And so we feel that it would be beneficial to the college, our students, and the eastern part of New Mexico to take on some of these wild horses and use them in our program to provide our students with hands-on experience. That also aligns very well with our horsemanship class, as well as providing an opportunity for adoptions of those horses within this area. So as a part of this agreement, it will take commitment from both the college and Carson National Forest, but they will provide us approximately $30,000 for this upcoming fiscal year, which for the federal government begins October 1st and runs through September 30th. So anyway, I think it's finally going to become a reality. We started this under Dr. Newsom. So unless the board tells me otherwise, I'd like to proceed with this because I think it presents many opportunities for, like I said, our students as well as the community members. So I just wanted to keep you apprised of this. I've shared with you some in the past, but it's ongoing, and Carson National Forest, their director, James Duran, first met Paul Leonard, our farrier science instructor, when he was at the state fair recruiting, and he was doing a presentation or a demonstration on how to shoe a horse. He was very impressed with our program, and they sought us out. So we hope, we had plans to visit the site in Bloomfield, and then COVID hit, and that part of the state has suffered dearly. And so the plan is maybe after the first of the year for Paul, myself, and Manny to visit the Bloomfield site, and it would all be outdoors, so it would be safer than being inside a building. But anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you on that program.
Okay, Natalie, this is Tom Sidwell. Do you know if these horses are administered under the Wild Horse and Burro Act?
Yes, I believe so, but
Okay,
I can find out for certain.
Okay, and so the college would basically be adopting them, is that correct? Under
Well,
that
we would provide routine horse care and training, and then we would assist in the adoption of those horses. And so
Okay.
what they'll provide the facilities for us in infrastructure development. That's something we have to decide where that should be. Livestock panels, holding pens, round pen. And I have a written summation of this. It's not complete. And then I also have a financial plan. So this is still in the works, but I'd be more than happy to share that with you, Mr. Sidwell, and answer any additional questions.
Okay, and it really sounds good. You know, it's as long as we're within the Wild Horse and Burro Act, and of course Forest Service, Carson National Forest is not going to do something that violates that act. And that's something that BLM and Forest Service did in the past was when they gathered these horses, they would take them to a number of penitentiaries, and several of the inmates would work with those horses, halter breaking, so on and so forth, and that just made them more attractive for adoption. And so what you're doing here is basically the same thing. I wouldn't call Paul or Manny inmates, but and you can tell them I said that, So,
Okay.
but it sounds pretty good to me, and they're paying some money to do it, so I like that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good partnership, and as I said, I don't know if you know James Duran, but he is committed to making this happen. So it'll be nice once it becomes a reality.
Now, good. I don't know James. I've probably met him in the past, but this is something that needs to be done because these horses are overgrazing the land, and this is one way of being able to get them off and get them adopted out. And so, sounds good. Sounds interesting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And that's all I have under academic affairs.
Okay. I'm like Tom, Natalie. It sounds like a good deal. So I just when you get to a point that we need to make a action on this thing, and let us know. Bring it back.
Okay, I don't think what I can do is once the agreement's finalized, I'll bring that back to the board.
That'll work.
Yeah. Okay. It's going to be set up like a grant as far as the funding that's provided. And so I guess that would be the best or model to compare it with. It's like a federal grant that we were selected for, as opposed to having to go through a competitive application process.
Okay. Let's make a pause here for just a minute. We've lost Teresa. I'm not sure where she went. Larry just texted me, and I'm assuming you're still here, Larry. You're trying to get Teresa back up, I guess.
She's on a hotspot where she's at, and she said she might have some trouble, so I'm going to give her a minute to see if she can connect, and then reach out to her if she's not back in.
Okay. Technology is so wonderful when it works. Bear with me, folks. Let's send Larry Teresa's cell number so you can try to reach out and see if he can reconnect with her.
Okay, I think she's at the join screen and she's back with us.
Okay, now, at this point, we finished up on that partnership with Carson National Forest. We're moving on to student affairs. Dr. Kennedy.
Mr. Streetman, I don't have any reports.
Okay, administrative affairs, Miss Amanda Hammer.
Good evening, everyone. So the first item on the agenda is the monthly finance report. It's companion exhibit number 1. Within this document, we have 3 exhibits as well, and the first one is our budget summaries. Our revenues for the month are $582,480. Our expenses were $316,601. And so far, our year-to-date revenues sit at $262,120. I noticed that our revenues are down quite a bit compared to last year at this time, but so are our expenditures. So we are keeping our expenditures where they need to be. The next item in here, Exhibit 2, is the certificate of deposit activity. And we had $212.22 in interest earned in August. Our year-to-date amount is $955.72. Exhibit 3 is our accounts payable check register. It includes some student refund checks that we processed this in the month of August for housing refunds. So including those, our total expenditures were $344,545.05. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, questions, anyone? Teresa?
No.
Liz?
No.
Jimmy?
No.
Tom?
No questions.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the finance report as presented?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Streetman?
Yes.
Mr. Sidwell?
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada?
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Exhibit 4-1, and that is a purchase requisition. June of 2019, you guys approved the purchase of a 2019 15-passenger van, and I had found one through Malloy Chevrolet on a state contract, and it is finally ready after strikes and COVID and everything else. They finally have actually received the van. We are not obligated to purchase it, but they would like a decision. And so I wanted to bring it back to the board to see if we want to go forward with it. It is still $32,297. This amount, if approved, would basically be coming out of our fund balance for our internal service departments where our auto payments are kept. And so I don't know if you guys want to proceed or not at this point.
Okay, when we start talking about our fleet line right now, what have we got? We've got a couple of cars, right?
We have 2 4-door cars. One's a Toyota Corolla and the other one is a Buick Verano. And then we have a Yukon, Chevy Yukon. The comfortably, both cars sits 4 people. The Yukon comfortably would sit
6,
7.
7.
And it was discussed that, you know, we would want the van for student activities as well as for athletics. And that could be the golf team, or it could even be, I believe, the rodeo team some if Matt is, you know, needing to haul students.
Right.
And this one does have the towing package so that a trailer could be towed as well, like a bumper pull trailer.
Well, considering what we have for vehicles right now, I'm hesitant on walking away from this because it's a good price. I really think we probably ought to pursue this thing and go ahead and get it. But the only thing I don't want to see is 2 people in a 15-passenger van going down the road, if you know what I mean. You know, the rodeo team, golf team, something like that, use it. I think it would be very beneficial for us to have it because I can see putting a golf team in a little 4-door passenger car with all their clubs and their gear and everything else. There's not going to be a lot of room.
Correct.
So, what does everybody else think? Comment, please.
Well, I think even though it wouldn't be used quite as much right now because of COVID, I think if we don't go ahead and purchase it now, this is just going to come back to the table later as a need.
Yep.
And the price may be higher at that time. So
That's
I
right.
think if we're budgeted for it, we should pursue it.
I agree.
I
Two.
agree also.
Jimmy, you said something?
Yeah, I agree with them.
Okay.
Instead of wait later, it might cost more.
Well, that being said, do we have a motion to approve this purchase?
I so move.
And a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
Mr. Sidwell,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
Ms. Estrada,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
Okay, that being done, we're down to our executive session. Do we have a motion to go into executive session for the description listed here?
Les Estrada, so move.
And a second,
Teresa
please.
Stevenson, second.
Roll call.
Mr. Sidwell,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
Ms. Estrada,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Streetman.
Yes. I guess at that point, folks, let's go into executive session with Natalie. Would you stay with us, please? Everybody else can drop off except the board.
There it is.
Okay, who do we lack? Dr. Kennedy coming back?
I'm not sure if he's coming back.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, let's just move right on. Tom, would you make that motion that we reconvene, please?
I'll make a motion that we reconvene.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Connie's
We
not
don't have
on.
Connie here. We're going to have to start all over. I hate that, but I don't see Connie. Jimmy, quit laughing at me.
It's really something, isn't it?
Yeah. Is Connie there near you, Natalie, or? There she is. Okay, Tom, I'm sorry, but I guess we're going to have to start all over.
Well, I might get this down right. I'll make a motion that we reconvene.
Okay, can I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
Mrs. Strata,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Streetman,
Yes.
and Mr. Sidwell.
Yes.
Okay, let it be noted that there is no action to be taken on anything that was discussed in the executive session. I guess we go on from there for new business. Do we have any new business? Okay, we'll have our correspondence, and that's just in here, and basically it's our, I'm trying to see if it's really good. Affairs meeting, basically all it is minutes from meetings and our important dates and our calendars, our board trustees calendars. Does anybody have anything else we need to discuss? Teresa?
Nothing.
Okay, Liz?
No.
Jimmy? Tom?
Excuse me. No, I don't.
Okay, Amanda?
No, sir.
Natalie?
No,
Natalie?
I don't.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I hear you fine now.
Okay.
Josh, you got anything?
No, sir.
Larry?
No, sir.
Connie?
No, sir.
The only thing I want to say is, Teresa, I love that cabin you're in. That looks pretty dang good back behind you there.
Thank you. I wish it was hard, but it's not.
Okay,
But it's beautiful here.
good. Folks, if there's nothing else, then we're going to call this meeting adjourned.